a historic deal. The details are coming through. The deal is struck, and go through some of the top lines for you. It was 1,400 pages, which the Democrats lodged. What have we got?
Good morning, Manus. Yeah, we're hearing from we just heard from Mitch McConnell on the Senate floor. Now we're hearing from New York Senator, the Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer. He's going through at this moment, I was just listening to him, when he calls 4 major killers that the Democrats were able to get through to this bill. The first one was for a Marshall Plan. We knew throughout the week they were pushing for this. This is money for hospitals, for medical centers, for community medical centers. He said that's over $130 billion. He's still going through the rest right now. I obviously can't hear him because I'm talking with you. But clearly the Democrats have won some considerations they've been pushing for. Mitch McConnell, he said this will send direct checks to households, some things we heard President Trump talk about. He said it's historic relief for mainstream America and that they will pass the legislation later today, Manus.
It's interesting that Schumer says the bill, Chuck Schumer says the bill with a strict oversight on any loans that are made to companies. Direct checks to households. So Mitch McConnell's talking about direct checks to household. Now, this is interesting, Annmarie, because I want to reflect back to what was put in by the Democrats. So they had asked for, Annmarie, $1,500 for every American, including retirees, people who were unemployed. So you're looking at benefits coming through. This is about getting to real America, isn't it? This is about getting to, you know, for example, my family who live there, who run a small business in the Flatiron in New York, whose shop is closed.
Yes, Manus, I know exactly the type of people you're talking about, and I know we've discussed about your family here in New York. I know people as well that have already had to sign up for these unemployment checks, who are just out of work, who some of them are writers, and the investors that backed that company are going under. So these checks to Americans are certainly going to be needed, and the delay we've seen has been frustrating to everyday Americans. So this is certainly something that they're going to want to celebrate today, although one of Schumer did say this is not a moment of celebration, but one of necessity. As you're talking about that $1,500 to every American, the Democrats wanted to go to retirees and those that are unemployed, while the Republicans wanted to go to taxpayers. So it looks like every American is going to get them. And then really the main consideration for this bill, and the thing that has been the most debated over, was, of course, that $500 billion for loans and loan guarantees that's going to be going to these corporations that have been hard hit by the pandemic. The Democrats wanted major oversight on this. They said for years we've seen a lot of these companies go on buyback bonanzas. Why should they get, you know, a free ride, in a sense, what the Democrats are saying? It seems like we are going to get that major oversight. It looks similar to what we saw in 2008, Manus, with the TARP plan. So there will be oversight on that money that's going to be given out to corporations and municipalities.
And it's interesting, my last guest, Anne, good to see you finally. My last guest said, actually, if we reflect back to TARP, those colours are flying away. If we get back to TARP in 2008, that was set up, but not a huge amount of that was used. So this is about preparedness, really, for a worst-case scenario. The airlines, it looks like the airlines will get cash. So the question is going to be, what are the remedies? If you take cash, what are the remedies? And this was a big push point for the Democrats, wasn't it?
Was always going to be controversial. I mean, remember 2008 with GM and the bailout? That became known as government motors. It was highly controversial, and it was very political. So this was always going to be a give and go and a touch and go between the Democrats and Republicans about the oversight of this money given to corporations. The Democrats are saying this isn't a slush fund for these corporations, while the Republicans are obviously just pushing for a fund to be there. It's a good question what the airlines do with this. We've seen them just completely on a quest to reserve cash right now, as they have been seriously hard hit. I mean, Manus, the airline industry, if you look at these numbers of schedules and the grounding of these flights, it's enormous. The United CEO is saying this is unprecedented. They've never seen a financial situation like this before. They say it's even worse than 9/11, which was, you know, another major event that really hurt the airline industry. But this oversight really is the big win for the Democrats, Manus.